ẹ̀yin wa àkìyín ẹ káàbọ̀ sí orí ètò wa fún tòní. Àkí ọmọdé, àkí àgbàlagbà, mo kí ọkùnrin bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni mo kí obìnrin, mo kí onílé bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni mo kí àlejò lónìí wípé ẹ tún káàbọ̀ sórí ètò wa bí a ṣe máa ń ṣe. Ọlọ́run Elédùmarè, ọba tó dá wa, ọba tó mọ̀ wá, ọba tó ní èmi àti yín, òun náà ni a fi ọpẹ́ àti ìyìn wa tòní fún, torí pé òun nìkan, òun náà ni ọba tí ọpẹ́ àti ìyìn wa tí ó tọ́ sí ní ọjọ́ tòní. Ọlọ́run ọ̀hún, òun náà ni a fi ọpẹ́ àti ìyìn wa fún lónìí. Ẹ̀yin wa ní àìní gbára wa ní àkókò lórí ètò wa fún tòní, wálẹ̀ mọ̀ wípé ètò wa tòní a tún ti gbàràdà bí alára, a tún ti dé bí àṣedé. Ohun tí a sọ ní ìjẹta lórí wípé a lè gba ara wa kalẹ̀ torí pé ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ tó ṣe ségesège, òun la ṣe mú apá kejì ètò ọ̀hún wá náà ní òní. Àwọn bàbá wa ti wà ń kalẹ̀ fún wa tí wọ́n yóò tún máa yànnàná the same aspect tá a ní láti mọ̀, òun náà ni wọ́n máa yànnà fún wa lónìí. Bàbá wa tí wọ́n ń bẹ lórí ètò pẹ̀lú wa lónìí, à ń retí àwọn mẹ́ta tó kù kí wọ́n jọ wá. Àwọn náà ni Báṣẹ̀gùn, Chief Dr. Olúṣọlá Òní, àwọn ni wọ́n ń bẹ ní orí ètò pẹ̀lú àwọn náà ní àjọ máa jọ ṣe kó tó di pé àwọn ìyókù tó di pé wọ́n dé. Bàbá, ẹ bá mi kí àwọn èèyàn wa tí wọ́n ń wò yín ní inú ilé, nítorí pé Yorùbá wọ́n ní adébíṣẹ́ mọ́ ṣe, wọ́n ní àgbà ọ̀lẹ, wọ́n ní òun náà ni. Bàbá, ẹ ti mọ̀ wọ́n, àwọn ni àtijọ́ ń ṣe ètò láti ìgbà tó ti ètò yìí tó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀. Àwọn gangan ni mo lè sọ pé wọ́n dá ètò yìí sílẹ̀, torí pé àmọ̀ràn wọn, òye wọn, ọgbọ́n wọn, ìmọ̀ wọn, òun náà ni a fi gbé ètò yìí kalẹ̀ tí a fi pè ní Ìmọ̀ràn Àgbà. Ẹ sì rí pé gbogbo àwọn ìmọ̀ràn tí wọ́n ti ń gbà wá láti ìgbà tá a ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ètò yìí, tẹ́ bá lọ wo àwọn fídíò wa tá a ti ṣe sẹ́yìn, ẹ rí wípé ìmọ̀ràn òun náà ni wọ́n ń gbà wá. Àwọn ìmọ̀ràn tí wọ́n sì ń gbà wá yìí, àwọn ìmọ̀ràn tó jẹ́ wípé ó níṣe pẹ̀lú tó yẹ kí ìran Yorùbá tó yẹ ká múlò ni, tí àwọn ìmọ̀ràn ọ̀hún tí wọ́n sì ń fún wa ní ọgbọ́n, ìmọ̀ àti òye eléyìí tí ó yẹ kí a mọ̀. So bàbá, àwọn náà ni wọ́n ń bẹ ní kalẹ̀ fún wa. Màá ní kí bàbá kán bá mi kí àwọn èèyàn tí wọ́n wà nílé. Bàbá, ẹ bá mi kí àwọn ọmọ yín tí wọ́n ń wò yín nílé.
And the idea was that we were going to start again today. What I'm going to do before others join in, hopefully, is to give a summary of what I said last Tuesday, a quick summary. The first thing that I said was that Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Yoruba land had really two titles. He was the Field Marshal, that is the highest officer of all Yoruba forces. He was also the military viceroy, the commander-in-chief. And that is very important, he's the commander-in-chief. And therefore, the Yoruba law, because our Yoruba knew we have our own law. Yoruba law imposes two duties on him. The duty of care, that is, he has to care for us Yoruba, me, you, all Yoruba. He also has the duty to act on our behalf because he's the commander-in-chief of the forces. And I then referred to section 288 of the Nigerian Criminal Code, which actually recognized the duty to act. So Nigerian law recognized that the Are had a duty to act. I also referred to Section 305 of the same code, which says that if the Are doesn't act and people die, it is his fault for people to die. So it is not enough for the Are to say, oh, I need somebody to tell me what to do. No. He has two duties: duty of care, duty to act. If he doesn't act and somebody gets killed, property destroyed, it is on his head. I then went to talk about the self-defense law of Nigeria. And I started by saying the 1999 Constitution actually allows us to defend ourselves. So if you have a pen, it's Section 33(2) of the Nigerian Constitution. That's the one that says that we have the right to look after, to defend our property and ourselves. I then went to talk about the penal code. The penal code operates in the North. And what it said was that if you exercise self-defense, it is not an offense. That is, if you defend yourself, if you defend your family, if you defend your property against somebody who wants to violate it, it's not against the law. And the criminal code, Section 286, says exactly the same thing. That is, if somebody is trying to destroy or kill you, and you retaliate, and you fight back, that's not an offense. And I also referred to Section 81 of the Penal Code, and I think Section 292 as well, which allows a farmer to use lethal force against somebody who is trying to use lethal force against him. I also pointed out that cattle grazing is illegal. There's been a court case where the judge said it is illegal, and as far as I'm aware, that court case has never been appealed. So at least in the Yoruba nation, that law applies. The law may not apply in the North, may not apply in the East, but in Yoruba land, because it was at the Abeokuta High Court where the judgment was made, that judgment applies to all of us in the sense that nobody is allowed to open graze cattle. I then went to I was talking about the lethal force, that if somebody used lethal force against you, you are entitled to do the same to him, particularly as the Fulani pests who are carrying AK-47 and so on and so forth. They are not entitled by law to carry any weapons. So that's the summary of what I said. I then went on to make three conclusions after I'd looked at the law. And I made the conclusions on the basis of a particular word that is used in law. That word is apprehension. That is, if you apprehend danger, if you're anxious about danger, if you fear danger, if you think that some disaster is going to befall you because the Fulani herders are coming towards you, you're entitled to defend yourself. If you have a ammunition, now these people coming down the road with their cattle and their AK-47 are about to destroy your farm, kill you, rape your wife, kill your children, you're entitled to defend yourself. And you can use lethal force just like they are using. As I said, I then made 4 points, which I think we were discussing. The first point that I said was that you are entitled to attack the Fulani herders and terrorists if they're on their way to cause havoc on your farm, in your village, or your property. So before they get to you, before they kill you, you can kill them. That's what the law of Nigeria says. And the law also says that you don't have to do it alone. If you know that they are coming to kill you, you can call your friends to come and assist you. You can say, these people are coming to kill me. I want to defend myself. Please help me. The law allows them to help you. And the third point that I made was that because the Fulani use their cows, because they use their cows as an offensive weapon, that's what they do. They use it as an offensive weapon, a means of destroying your farm. You are entitled to destroy the cows as well. So that's why we left it on Tuesday. That's just a summary of what we said. And I think finally I said that the Yoruba man is under no obligation to retreat. There's no law that says when people attack you, you should run away. No. You're entitled to stand your ground and fight back. And as I said, you don't have to fight on your own. You can get others to fight for you. Now, I may be wrong, but from what the way the discussion was going last Tuesday, if I'm wrong, please correct me. There was a discussion about people not wanting to take the law into their hands, and therefore when they apprehend a herdsman, they then handed them to the police. That, in effect, is a citizen's arrest. That's what you are doing. To some extent, you are telling the police that they are incompetent. They are not doing their job. I'm doing your job for you. That's citizen's arrest. So I'm not surprised if the police do not like it. What I can say about that is that it is not taking law into your own hands to defend yourself. That's not taking law into your hand. If you defend, somebody comes to attack you and you fight back, that's not taking the law into your hands. You're fighting back. The other point that was made, I'm trying to remember the points that were made on Tuesday. The other point that was made was that there were practicalities, that it's all right to say this is the law, but there are practicalities. What I will say to those two things is this. The first one is that let the people know the law. Let the people know their rights. It's up to them to do what they like. It is not up to us to say, oh, we are lawyers, we are doctors, we are engineers, we are whatever, we educated elite. It's all right to say, oh, there are practicalities. Let the people decide for themselves. But you need to let them know what the law is, what their rights. If your right is to fight for your property, fight for your family, well, then it's up to you what you do. The people have the right to know. Now, how we are going to publicize it, I don't know. I mean, there are people who have radio stations, I'm sure, locally, who can use the radio station to inform people. There are people who can go around from village to village, like the Agbekoya did in 1969, I think, where they went from village to village to tell the farmers that they are entitled to fight back. And the other thing that I would suggest against all these practicalities is that we should encourage local cooperatives, local groups of people to fight the others. And there are ways in which they could do it. All they are doing is they are defending themselves, they are defending their family. And they should be able to. If you are in a group, it is different from if you are just alone and you are remonstrating with them, because these people are animals. When people go and individual farmers go to beg them, oh, don't destroy my farm, they kill them. I was giving an example of one farmer, a video that was. That's the thing. Not only do these Fulani, not only are they animals, not only are they barbarians, not only are they savages, they even have the effrontery to video their crime. They have the effrontery to video. So the video that was sent to me last week, these crazy people, these mad people, these animals, they attacked this poor fellow, poor defenseless farmer. They clubbed him to death, they cut him to death, and then one of them cut off his head. These are the people that we are supposed to be sharing a country with. That's why I've always said, these sort of videos, we should put it on the internet. Put it on Twitter. Let the whole world see how barbaric the Fulani are. Let the whole world see that the Fulani are not human beings. That's what we need to do. So that's my submission for tonight. And I will now leave it to people who are more eminent than myself in law to help us with this conundrum. Thank you very much. Is there anybody there? Or am I on my own? Hello?
You are not on your own. We can hear you.
Okay. Please.
You are not on your own, sir. We can hear you.
Thank you very much, Shekoni. What he said about the law is correct. I have nothing to add to it. It's totally correct. Every Nigerian has a right to defend himself against Fulani, against kidnapper, against anybody trying to do you any wrong. You have a right to defend yourself up to the extent of killing that person if your life is in danger. That is the law, and as Dr. Oni said, we need to publicize it. People need to know. I think they know, but maybe they need reassurance that that is the law. You have a right to defend yourself against anybody. What I see as the great problem is if you don't want to go to that extent, if you just want to report, for instance, that the Fulani cows have eaten all your crops, you don't want to fight, or you take their pictures, for instance. Okay, and that's another thing. They should, the victim should try, or those supporting the victim, or just innocent bystander, take pictures and videos, evidence as much as possible. So assuming that somebody takes such evidence to the police, he doesn't want to fight back, but he wants redress and is a gentleman, good-natured person. He takes that evidence to the police. The police ought to fight for him. It's the duty of the police to protect and help innocent citizens, law-abiding citizens, citizens who don't want to fight or cause trouble, but they have been wronged. The duty, the police should be very happy to help such people, but they don't. I Googled this afternoon how many people have been prosecuted by how many Fulani herders have been prosecuted by the police in Nigeria. I was so surprised. I scrolled and scrolled and scrolled, found only one instance when they were arrested somewhere in the south. Only one instance of arrest, not prosecution, arrest. So all these evils that the Fulanis are doing in Nigeria, why are they not being prosecuted? If the police have orders given to them by the president or anybody, or their inspector general, that they should not be prosecuted, we want that to be made public. So I would suggest that civil rights campaigners, journalists should go and interview the force relations officers. If they can't get to the IGP, get to the force relations officers. Why are you not prosecuting Fulanis? The order not to prosecute them, who gave that order? They should be taken to task. So also the army. If you can't go to the chief of staff of the army or the head of the army, go to the public relations officer. Why are these people not being prosecuted? Who gave the order not to prosecute them? The Nigerians have every right to know the answers to these questions. because it is evil. When a government allows evil to persist, it didn't start this year, it didn't start last year. It's been going on for years. Why are they not prosecuted? Any government that allows evil to go on unchecked is an evil government. So if our President Tinubu, wants to show that it's not evil, it can start from him. The former one didn't want to do anything. Okay, if he tolerates evil, then it's evil. But President Tinubu has plenty of time. He has just started. He has plenty of time to show the Nigerians that he doesn't tolerate evil. Islam doesn't tolerate evil. Christianity doesn't tolerate evil. So what's the point? Why can't these people be prosecuted for their crimes? They should be. Thank you. That's what I have for now.
Yes. Please, hold on. Let me quickly come in there before you add whatever you want to add. Now you can ask all the question at the end of the day so that we both look at the questions and we both tackle all these questions. I mean, I think it will be all right. But if you insist you want to do it now, okay. I will for now hands off while you ask for your questions. Okay, you can ask for your question. I mean, you can ask for your question and we tackle it. Then I will come in at the end of the day. All right. One thing. Let's first of all thank Dr. Oni for his relentless effort in tackling this problem, making research here and there. And I will thank my friend, my classmate, my senior-in-law, Mr. Afiari. We both grew up. We knew each other, I think we were about 12 or 10 years old then. We attended the same secondary school too. Now, the question, what I want to say is this. What do we mean by unitary system? For me, the unitary system in law is that what operates in the north should be what operates in the east, and what operates in the south should be what operates in the south. That is, the unitary system makes it mandatory that I have the same right, the same social right with you in any part of Nigeria. But today, that unitary system in Nigeria is completely nullified with the, how will I say, with the with the northern oligarchy, which is being put into practice. And this is what we all are suffering now. What we suffer now is that because, as Mr. Fiari has said rightly, and Dr. Oni has been making mention of that case of Justice or Johnson or something. That case, since it was decided, there has been no appeal, and there has been no any other superior precedence on it up to now. Now, what we have to look into now is this. When Buhari came into power, you will all remember that in those days when we were young, you see a Fulani man or an Hausa man with a dagger on his fist. They normally put a dagger in those days on their fist. And we were so young then. We may not know that this is against the law in Nigeria. Now you don't see them with those daggers again, but you see them with a dangerous, sophisticated weapon, which they carry around. And I was completely shocked when the case of Igogo happens. The moment they go and arrest the man they call Iskilu, is it Iskilu or so? The one terrorizing Igogo in those days. The moment he was arrested, those OPC that arrested him were locked up. This is a vice of advice. This is a vice of what was supposed to be A has been turned into B. The moment Iskilu was arrested, they're supposed to prosecute him together with his son. But up till today, he's not prosecuted. And we didn't hear anything again about him at all, up till now. What do we say about this? Are we going to say that the Fulanis are superior to an Igbo man and to a Yoruba man? That is the superiority of it, is what we must sit down and discuss and make the president, the new president, to understand. And I say one thing, which I just want to bring in. All the Yoruba elders, they should come up now and ask our president, President Tinubu, what agreement, what both security, economy, any agreement has he signed unofficial with the Fulanis? Because if there is no agreement signed with them, I see no reason why a Yoruba man should look himself inferior to an Hausa man, or why an Igbo man will take himself very, very inferior to the Fulanis. These are things that our elders, they will have to sit down and ask. And apart from that, the question with our Southwest governors, they are not doing much at all. I think about 2 hours ago, I saw it on the internet, on the news, that President Tinubu has signed into law now the state of police. How right, how truth, how everything about it, I don't know. But one thing is this, and I will ask this question from this forum. Is it legal or illegal for Yoruba men to go into the forest in the north, dispatch themselves there, and start coming out to kidnap Hausas and taking them into the forest? And the federal government is mum, as they are keeping mum in the southwest and northeast now. These are the things we need to sit down. We need to call ourselves, and we need to present this to the government, more so to the presidency, so that the presidency can now come out and tell us that, okay, we are the one that says we should not prosecute Fulanis in the southwest or in the east. But meanwhile, there is what we call self-defense. You see, if anybody is trying to attack you and you attack him, You have even the right, if you can overpower him and kill him. Because what you are doing in law is what they call self-defense. Now, let every Southerners, every Yoruba origin, maybe they must go out and find a way of defending themselves with any instrument they can lay hand on, because this is recognized in law. Self-defense is recognized in law. You cannot defend yourself with your bare arms alone. And this is what really happened in the Second World War, when Russia attacked Czechoslovakia. The peasant farmers, they attack with their instruments, hoes, cutlass, anything, they attack. And who were able to kill, killed. Who are able to be wounded are wounded. Now, it is now for we Yorubas now to find a way or the other to tell the government that, look, we are no more comfortable in our zone. We are under a danger, and we face this danger daily. And what we want, let everybody keep whatever instrument he can use to defend himself, either in his car, in his pocket, in his bag, or in his anything, as the Northerners are doing. That is when we talk of a unitary system. But as things are going on now, we talk of the Northern legacy and superiority to the Southern and to the Eastern. As Barrister Chazi said, it is good that a forum like this, we find a way of writing to the Inspector General of Police, which I know a lot of people has written to that office without any, without any tangible result at all. If we can do this, if we can make the whole country, the whole Southerners, the peasant farmer, laborers, workers, know that, look, you can defend yourself. It is then that time that whoever is coming to attack you will realize that, look, this guy I'm going to attack is in a very good form to attack you too. You see, one thing again, which I want the whole Nigeria to understand. Sorry if I'm taking much time, is this. You know, in 1974 or 1973, I think, when they introduced Nigeria Youth Service Commission, it was badly, they have good intention, but it was badly executed. As at that time in Europe, what they do is that whenever you, as a citizen of a European country, when you get to 19 years of age, a letter comes to you that you report at the army barrack. And that is where you will be militarily trained for a year, so that if there is war, it is you people under the training that will go. Then the second batch, the third batch, I did my own in Italy. I did my 1 year full military service in Italy. That time, they teach you the rudiment of arms, how to assemble, how to assemble a gun, how to bring out so that when you are on the road, a policeman will have no time to mess with you. If he sees you that you are 20 years or so, he would have known that, look, this guy has gone through the training that I had myself. That was what Nigeria supposed to do for the NYC program there, to put everybody into the military, to train everybody militarily, so that one set will not come and dominate the other set. Okay, now we are hearing stories that these people fomenting problems in Nigeria, most of them are not from Nigeria. They are Fulanis from the outside world. So please, let us get our people. You say what? Yes, I'm done. Thank you very much. I'm done.
Okay, thank you very much. And I thank you very much, the two elders who have contributed, because this is a very, very important problem. I think the problem was described by the barrister earlier, that the police are not going to do anything. So we need to remove them from the equation. We need to accept, all of us, that the police are not going to defend us. The police are not going to do anything. We have to do it ourselves. So I think that's just the way it is. The question of a unitary system is that right from the creation of Nigeria in 1914, the Fulani have been made to believe that they're above the law. Since 1914. In fact, Nigeria was set up so that the deficits in the north could be paid for by the southerners. And they have done the same ever since. When oil was discovered, the Fulani, the northerners threatened to leave Nigeria unless they were given 50% of the oil money. And the British agreed. When the election was taking place in 1959, in the East, in the West, people, men and women voted. In the North, they used an electoral college to determine who was going to the House of Representatives. So the Fulani have been getting away with all these things since 1914. And the question is this. Even before I said that, after the 1999 Constitution, the Fulani wrote the 1999 Constitution. This was Fulani Constitution. What did the Arewa people do in 2000? They then passed their own law, the Sharia customary law, because they were not satisfied with Nigeria's constitution. They said that Nigerian constitution was inferior to their Islamic constitution. And the buffoon that we had as president at that time, what did Obasanjo do? Nothing. So we have a Nigerian constitution These people decide to change the constitution to suit themselves against the constitution that they themselves wrote. And the Yoruba leaders did nothing. Just before I joined you on air, I read something that Afenifere wrote. Somebody in Afenifere wrote, I think about 3 or 4 years ago, where he was still talking about restructuring and fiscal federalism. Our problem in Yoruba land is that we like the sound of our voice. We just talk and talk and talk and talk, and we never do anything. Nigeria, if anybody had attended a previous talk that I gave, Nigeria came into existence on the 1st of October 1960. Before then, there was no Nigeria because it was a colony. Nigeria came into existence on the 1st of October 1960. It came into existence because three sovereignties agreed for Nigeria to come into existence: Western region, Eastern region, Northern region. That's why Nigeria came into existence. In 1963, when it was decided that we were going to have a republic, again, 3 sovereignties, West, East, and North, decided that we are going to be a republic. And then in 1966, everything was taken away. And we have done nothing. We had Obasanjo as president, as military president of Nigeria for 3 years. It never occurred to him that the way that Nigeria was being constructed was of no value to any Nigerian. And the sad aspect of it is this. I remember sitting with, I think it's Shetima Alimungu. I can't remember. It was a either Minister of Education or something in the old republic. And he was saying to me, we sat at the same table at a reception, and we were the 2 Nigerians, and we were talking. And he said to me that this disaster for the North has always been the fact that the North has been in power in Nigeria. He said if the North was not in power, Northern region would be a different place today. So when you talk about what these people have done to Nigeria, it affects them even worse than it affects the rest of Nigeria. In my view, and I will finish by telling you what my view is. The only solution to Nigeria's problem is dissolution. Nigeria has to be broken up. Until that is done, Nigeria will never prosper. Nigeria will always fail. Because there are no elements to make Nigeria succeed. That's why we call ourselves Nigerians. We are all speaking English. What kind of country is that? Until Nigeria is broken up, we will still be here. Next year, year after, we'll be here till all of us die. Nigeria is a failed state. Nigeria does not deserve to exist. Nigeria is a dead horse. You cannot flog it into life. And the time has come for all of us to accept that Nigeria is useless and that we should get rid of it. Now, when we do think about all these things, we always have to accept that those people who are in power will never, ever see the light. All they can see is, I can get an SUV. I can get a flat in Dubai. I can build a mansion in my village. I can bury my mother in a Land Rover. That's all they see. They can't, because that's all they know. They have power. They can do whatever it is they like. And as far as they're concerned, that's fine. I mean, there was one parliamentarian who said he could not take the new SUV that the government bought for him to his village because the road was bad. They have no shame whatsoever. These people are totally shameless. You are a Nigerian parliamentarian. You are the Nigerian president. You go to London to go and seek medical treatment where you meet people like me. People like me are practicing in Harley Street. I have a Harley Street practice. You leave Nigeria to come here, to come and see people like me. And you have no shame whatsoever to say, if I improve the hospitals in Nigeria, I wouldn't have to go anywhere. I will be treated in Nigeria. Completely shameless. You come to the streets of London, you'll be boasting, oh, their bus service works, this works, that works. You go back home and you are so shameless, you don't think that you should bring what you have seen to improve your own. I mean, I'm not talking about just anything. I'm talking generally now, that these are people who leave Nigeria, who are ruling Nigeria. They come outside Nigeria, they go to Paris, they go to London. The first time I went to Dubai, what was Dubai? Look at Dubai today. I first went to Singapore in 1970. It was a fishing village. Go and see what Singapore is today. These people are shameless. So the idea that there's going to be a change on the road to Damascus for these people, we're wasting our time. We have to decide how we're going to fight this war. These buffoons are not going to do anything. I was just reading today that the Osun State has put your birth certificate and things on electronic. So they have wasted money. I mean, this is just the way it is. Everything is for show. There's nothing. Before the Europeans came, we had an industry in Yoruba land. It is called farming. From farming, we developed cities, towns and cities, which were equivalent to towns and cities in Europe that were based on industrial revolution. In Yoruba land, we have been having cities before they had cities. All based on farming. Because farming was our industry. Everybody took part in it. So you know, and even when I was growing up with my grandmother in the village, the women were the food processors. The men came home with the yam. The women converted it to elubo. If you bring cassava, they converted it to gari. So everything was done to make sure that we were fed. And, you know, when I was at medical school, I used to say that I never saw any child that had kwashiorkor in the village, even though the village people were poor. You know, in those days, if you had a pound note, they'd be dancing in the street to say, I've got a pound note. Yet, no child, not one child had malnutrition. Between the school and home, you had mango trees, orombo trees, agbaluma. You know, you had all these things that you could eat before you got home, so that even when you got home, you know, you didn't want food anymore because you'd be eating all these fruits all along. Everything is destroyed. We have to go back to where we came from, and that means we have to leave Nigeria. People will notice that I wear this all the time. This is Yoruba Nation. This is for Yoruba Nation. When I was the coordinator for Ilana UK, we commissioned this address to wear it when we went on rallies. That's why I wear it every time I come on this program. I wear the same thing. This is for Yoruba Nation.
Those are part of the industry Yorubas were having then.
Exactly.
textile industries.
Exactly.
Because I remember in those days, my grandmother, they made one type of cloth at home, which they call
it's kijipa.
kijipa.
Yeah.
Good one.
Look, in my hometown, they used to teach in the school. In those days, they had like a pit and the same for weaving cotton. That is how we are going to develop. That's in my view, that's how we are going to develop. Before the Europeans came, we had our own monarchy system, which is exactly the same as they have in England. We had the Oba, and then we had the council. So
But not only the kijipa we talk about, there was adire. I remember my granddad. They have one type of shoe which they call takalumi, and they sell in the market. All these we had industries. We had industries in Nigeria. In Yoruba land. You see all these kulikuli, kongu, epa, all those are industries. They produce them in a large quantity. These are food, these are beverages industries. You have the wara. You see, we had everything until the system came and destroyed them. To get kuli now, I remember in those days, while we live in Methodist primary school, immediately we come out of school, in front of the school, you have people selling
Boli anepa.
Boli anepa. All these are industries, things that were made inside the industries. But what do we see today? Nothing. I think, Prof, the best bet which we have to do is for us to start dealing with UNO, because these are people that that if we deal with them, we'll be able to invoke that, I think, Article 36 or so. We'll be able to trigger it.
Okay. Let me tell you what I think about the UN. I'm sorry, I don't want to take all the discussion. I am actually in the process of writing an application to the UN. So far, I've got to about 100 pages, but I'm having to revise it because my situation has changed. And I will explain my change of situation in the next 2 weeks. I won't deal with it today. In that application, I am telling the UN who the Yoruba are, where we are coming from, where we want to go to, and who are those people that are hampering us from going to where we're going. I'm telling the UN that between 1954 and 1959, when we had self-government, we were ahead of Singapore. We were ahead of South Korea. We had television before France and Italy. We had Olympic-sized stadium in Liberty Stadium. And I still remember watching Holiday on Ice at that Liberty Stadium. I remember watching Dick Tiger fight Jim Fulmer at that stadium.
In 1963, you are right.
I remember seeing Sheffield Wednesday play Western Academicals at that same stadium. We had everything in Yoruba land, and they destroyed everything before our very eye. But we keep on talking about somehow as if we have some higher calling, that if we did something superior, these people are going to change. They will never change. The Fulani will never. The only problem that Nigeria has, I say this over and over again, the only problem of Nigeria is the Fulani. There's no people who have skills like they do. That you don't know somebody, you've never met somebody before, you go and kill him, for what? And then you video it. The Fulani are our only problem. We need to get rid of them. And the way to get rid of them is to have our own country. So that when they want to come to Yoruba land, they need a visa. They'll have to have a visa to come here. We have given them enough latitude since 1914. We have allowed the Northerners to mix with civilized people like us for over 100 years. It hasn't changed them. They will never change. Anybody who thinks that these people will change, they will never change. Even those of them that are educated like Buhari, they're the same. They're the same. People, herders are killing people, and then you come to Igangan, Mietiala comes to Igangan to be telling Igangan people is their fault for not allowing the Fulani to graze their cattle. The tail is now wagging the head. The time has come for us as Yoruba people to in my view, what we should notify the government, I mean, if we have leaders who can do it, is to say that we Yoruba want to leave Nigeria and we want a timetable. I don't see why it should cause any fight. The Igbos want to leave, the Yorubas want to leave. Anybody else who wants to be Nigerians, let them stay to be Nigerians. We want to go, the Easterners want to go, that's it. Nothing binds us, there's no agreement that binds us together anymore. Since 1966, the agreement is gone. And the idea that, if we all go, the North will then start a civil war. And fight with who? And for the first time, wake up the Fulani, the Hausa will suddenly realize that they too can fight their way. The reason why they get away with it is because of the structure of Nigeria. The people who are eating from the table will never allow anything good to happen in Nigeria until we break the country down. They will never allow anything good to happen to that country. I was just reading earlier today that the money that Buhari and co recovered, or whatever it is, from stolen money, nobody could find where they are. Just disappeared into the central bank. They treat Nigeria's money as if there is their own money. Complete lack of respect for us as people. Complete and they disgrace us everywhere. Everywhere these people go, they disgrace us, and the whole world laughs at us. They disgrace us everywhere. And yet, there are people who are still talking about one Nigeria, fiscal federalism, this kind of nonsense. The time has come for us to say enough is enough. We've had over 100 years. It hasn't worked. Everybody go their separate way. I'll stop there for the minute. Please come in.
Let's hear Barrister Fiari if he has something to say.
Barrister Charles, please come in.
Thank you very much. I have some things to say. We still need anyone who can get in touch with the police. Like I said before, the Nigerian Bar Association, or youth communities, anyone who can, journalists especially, who can get an answer and make it public. Why are the Fulanis not being prosecuted? It's a question the other Nigerians want to know, other than the Fulanis. Every other tribe wants to know the answer to that question. So it's very important. In fact, all the governors, we should ask them, the governors and the security forces, why are they not prosecuting them? Nigerians need to know, and anybody, use this forum to challenge anybody who has the opportunity. Please ask them and make their answers public. We need to know why they are not being prosecuted for the horrors they are inflicting on Nigerians. And also, I would like to make it known to the Fulanis that we are not inferior in any way. Every other Nigerian is equal to the Fulanis. The Fulanis are not superior in any way, mentally, physically, in any way a human being can be defined. They are not superior to any other Nigerian. We are all equal. And I want to point it out that the Fulani is just one tribe. There are over 300 tribes in Nigeria. So in fact, we shouldn't make too much of a big deal about them. They are just one tribe out of 300 plus. They are not more in number. They are not the majority. They are not more in number. They are not more intelligent. They are not more anything better in any other way. So all the other tribes should speak up. Okay. All the other tribes should speak up and identify themselves. Huh?
Who gave them this power? Who gave them this power?
Well,
Omoboriowo, who gave them the power?
Well, they kind of stole it over a period of time. Somebody said they have been making these plans for over 30 years. Okay, maybe. But for instance, in the army, there are generals, there are Yoruba generals. If a Yoruba general, hold on. If a Yoruba general meets a Fulani general, does he feel inferior to him? If he feels inferior to him, then there's something wrong with him. All the other generals of the other tribes, do they feel inferior to a Fulani general? So we should make it known to them. We don't accept that you are superior in any way, intellectually, morally, any aspect. You are not superior to us. Thank you. So the problem, what we need to do now is to find a way of asking the police public relations officer who made this special. Why is it special? So we need to make these people to tell us what makes this case special and what's the meaning of special. Does special mean you are not going to touch it? You are not going to prosecute it? What kind of special is that? So we should let them tell us in national newspaper, in national radio or television, why are they not being prosecuted? They should tell us. Then we'll know where to go. On the other hand, there should be a referendum. We should encourage or call for a referendum about whether people want the country to be split. We need to call for a referendum. Personally, I don't support the dissolution because hold on, please. The Yorubas want to go, the Igbos want to go. What about the other tribes? What about the Middle Belt? What about the Christians in the Middle Belt? And then even the North. The North is not just Fulani. There are Hausas, there are Nupes, there are TVs, there are all sorts of people. It's not only Fulani. So that's why I don't support breaking it up. The Yorubas may benefit, the Igbos may benefit, but what about all these other small tribes? They are going to be at the mercy of the majority. So I don't really support the solution. And I don't want to get a passport if I'm going to Kano, or I'm going to Sokoto, or I'm going to Abakaliki. I don't want to get a passport or visa. So personally, that's just my view. I don't want to split. We can still work it out when we call for equal rights. When every tribe sorrows okay, every tribe has sorrows okay. The Fulani is just one tribe out of 300, so there's nothing special about them. Count Oku sorrows okay. Thank you.
But before you go, I want to ask you a question. The only thing we are suffering in Nigeria, as I know, is the execution of the law. Because the law is there for everybody. The law that, takes your teeth, takes my own too. But now what we are seeing in Nigeria is that the judiciary is no more functioning. The law is no more taking its course. If not, how will you now call me and start asking that the Fulanis are not being prosecuted or so, or this or that? Because, you see, what we need to do is to make sure that the law, the Nigerian law, is well executed, and the Nigerian law must be followed to the letters.
Yeah.
And to judge everybody. Whether you are a prince, you are a king, you are this, you are Yoruba, you are not. But so far that is not functioning, then there is no way we can talk of equality. And that is what we are suffering now. So the more we are able to get linked up with the UNO, because I know one thing now, UNO is the only body that is formed that can say, okay, you can go, you cannot not go. If you fight the war, kill yourself, everything.
If I can come in, it's a point that I forgot to mention. These United Nations that some people are so, like Dr. Oni is very, thinks so highly of them. The United Nations has no right to create any part of Nigeria to break it up. The United Nations has no right to break up Nigeria. They don't have the power. They have never created any country.
Okay.
The United Nations cannot create any country. They have never done it, and they have no power to do it. So we shouldn't depend too much on them. Let us solve our own problems by ourselves.
Okay, I will say two things about that. Number one is the chapter 7 of the UN Charter, which says that the UN is entitled to intervene when there is a breakdown in law and order. Nigeria, there's a breakdown.
To maintain law and order, not to create a country. You can't create a country.
Eduruna. The same chapter was used in Yugoslavia. So it's been used before. And the other thing is this: Kosovo as an example. When the Kosovars, when I was coming to talk about it in terms of the referendum that you asked for, when a group of Kosovars, that is the leaders, a group of them, decided that they were going to have their own country, they were taken to the International Court of Justice, and the court said the Kosovars could declare independence for their own territory. Unfortunately for us, we do not have leaders of that kind of stature that can say enough is enough. We want Yoruba nation. We are declaring Yoruba nation. We don't have people of that caliber.
Okay.
If you did, Yoruba land will be gone. There's nothing anybody can do.
But we can start it from here. We can start it on this forum.
But I mean, I don't know about you. I don't have any agbára to do anything. I'm afraid I'm just...
It is not agbára. It is he who can come out. Like Barrister Charles said, it is when everybody comes up and sorrows, okay. It is that time that the whole world will hear you and say, okay, it is okay.
I'll just briefly deal with the question of referendum, because I've written an article which I tweeted about this last year, I think, about referendum. I'll try and find it and retweet it, actually, so that people can read what my views are. Referendum is a waste of time, complete waste of time, especially in a country where they can rig the election. I mean, you are doing referendum to be organized by people who are going to rig the election. That's number one. Number two, if the referendum is against Nigeria's government and the government decides it's not going to accept it, what are you going to do? Look at the case in Spain. Look at the case in Spain. We are part of Spain. They said they no longer want to be part of Spain. They want to go on their own. They had a referendum. Over 90% of them supported it. What happened? Spain said no. Look at Czechoslovakia as a very good example. When the elites of Czechoslovakia decided that, look, this country is not working anymore. We need to break it up. They did a referendum. Less than 50% of the population supported breakup of Czechoslovakia. The president resigned rather than support breakup of Czechoslovakia. The elites went ahead anyway. They agreed, that's the Velvet Revolution. They agreed that Czechoslovakia should be broken up. Today, they have two very successful countries. I am not aware of any countries that have broken up and the bits and the parts of it are suffered. No. Each case of a country that broke up, the constituent parts have done better than the country from which they came. So from my point of view, there's no reason for us to remain in Nigeria. Not once. There's a tweet that I send out recurrently, and I asked the question, what is it that Nigeria can give you that Yoruba nation cannot give you? Give me an example. What is it that Nigeria can give you as an individual, as a Yoruba man, that the Yoruba nation cannot give to you? Let me know. Let me know. I'm still waiting for the answer. Every day we Yoruba, we are humiliated in Nigeria and we still want to stay. Why? What is the point of staying in Nigeria? I have no idea why we want to remain in Nigeria. I have no idea at all. Unless there's something that I have not seen, something that is so unique about Nigeria that I have not observed. But I cannot see anything. And the idea about minorities, they will let them fight for themselves. We have suffered on their behalf for over 100 years. Let every the time has come.
Prof, it is the system. We understand you. But you see, it is just like, taking a mathematical test. You need to start 1 + 1 is 2 until you get to the answer. We are now getting to the answer of pulling ourselves out. But how do we work it to the answer of pulling ourselves out? You're talking of that you don't have a belief. in referendum. Barrister Charles is saying that he has a belief in it. Okay, what you see, there's one way, there's one thing. We are still on the same way. What do I want to know now, sir, is this: how do we get to the point of coming out of that troublesome and and the wide wind nucleus we find ourselves?
Okay.
This is the question.
What I am working on now, as you speak, is about a roadmap. How do we get out of Nigeria? That's one of the things that over the coming weeks I'm going to be talking about on this platform. How do we get out of Nigeria? Because one of the biggest problems is that we haven't really paid attention to how to get out. I was listening to a town hall with Tony Nandi. There was some program in London where he was talking about all sorts of things. The one thing that did not come out is exactly how are you going. So the question is, how do you actuate self-determination? That is a big problem that we need to deal with, and the reason why I'm going things this way is that we need to accept that our leaders are not going to help us.
Self-determination is already there. We had, you see, if you go to the street in any Yoruba nation or in any Yoruba town, that self-determination of coming out is there. But it is that useless law which is being manipulated by our leaders that will not take out of it. And that is it.
That is why, as you say in this forum now, it is our job to work out how we are going to do it. Good. You know, I mean, there is no problem that has no solution. Every problem has a solution. So we've set ourselves problem. How do we get out of Nigeria? And for somebody like me, who is a pacifist, not only how do we get out of Nigeria, but how do we get out peacefully?
That is why we need to pull out. That is why we have to pull out.
Let me tell you something. That is just boasting. That is just boasting. There is not. Let us be frank. The Fulani could not defeat the Igbo in Biafra. It took Benjamin Adekunle to do it. The only man who had military common sense. They just make noise. They are not as powerful. They are not as brave as they claim they are. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. And the reason why we look powerless is because we have leaders. How we end up with leaders that we have is only God knows. We had a vice president of Buhari for 8 years who sat on his backside and did absolutely nothing. With all his degree, all his professor, all his, he was a nobody. And he has gone back to being a nobody. No legacy, nothing.
I told you last week that we only had corrupt leaders.
Yes, we will. I mean, the only thing that I will tell people is this, that I am not interested in violence. I'm a pacifist. So the way that I do things is if we okay, that's fine.
Nigeria is about time to break because there's no more food in Nigeria. Everybody is crying. Everybody is crying. No food, no water, no road, no light. How will you stay in such? In such a very bad situation, and you say you are in a country. Thank you.
ká mọ̀ wípé àwa gangan òun náà ni a ní ara wa. Eléyìí ní ọ̀nà kan ṣoṣo tí ó lè ran èmi àti yín lọ́wọ́. Gbàgbọ́lápọ̀ Elédùmarè á rí ọ̀nà lọ láṣẹ tiwa lágbára Ọlọ́run. Ẹ̀yin yẹn wá tí ẹ wò wá oníyan ṣe ọlọ́bẹ̀ ṣe. Ẹ̀yin tí bá wa jẹ́ náà ẹ kú àìbínú títí di ọjọ́ mẹ́jọ tá máa pàdé. Ó dàbọ̀ kí èmi àti yín ká jọ fi ire pàdé lágbára Ọlọ́run. A ní fi ikú, a ní fi yára wa láṣẹ Elédùmarè. Ẹ̀yin yẹn wá tí ẹ wò wá, ẹ dákun ẹ bá wa subscribe sórí YouTube wa. Bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni ẹ bá wa kẹlẹ́ tí wọ́n ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ jẹ́ àkọ́ tí ó máa ń ètò àbẹ̀yẹ ṣe. Ẹ gbàgbé láti bá wa fi thumbnail yẹn bá wa tẹ̀ so that kí YouTube algorithm kí wọ́n lè rí àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ táwọn báyìí sọ gẹ́gẹ́ bí òkodoro ọ̀rọ̀ eléyìí tí wọn yóò tún pín káàkiri sórí àwọn other platform tí ó kù. Olódùmarè yóò ràn wá lọ́wọ́ lágbára Ọlọ́run títí di ìgbà mìíràn táwọn pàdé lórí ètò yìí Ìmọ̀ràn Àgbà. Kí Olódùmarè kó wà pẹ̀lú wa. Oorun ayọ̀ lásùn èmi àti yín lágbára Ọlọ́run ire àti àánú òun náà ni a ó fi pàdé. Ó dàárọ̀.
Like, comment, and share.